What is going on, everyone? I'm Jaye the Black, of course. I'm here with another video. I want to talk about ESPN and the social justice and the feminism that has made that network rethink their whole business model from where they were previously going over the last couple of years. And the ladies that you're seeing on the screen have a lot to do with that. Now, before I get started, I just want to say that I did a live stream yesterday on my Jaye the Black live streams 2 channel. I'll leave a link in the description. And we had a very, heated topic. We spoke about wokeness in regards to black men. And I went in. I did some teaching. I took phone calls. Y'all can go and check that live show out, okay? Now, there's going to be some people who are going to be triggered by that show, and rightfully so, because that just shows how much illogic they have. They don't have any logic in them whatsoever. I'm about teaching logic. I'm about, being more logical than emotional, because the communities and the people that seem to thrive are the ones who have logic. They have it at its foundation. All right. Now, speaking of logic or illogic, here you have Michelle Beadle and Jemele Hill. They were 2 of the faces of what ESPN was. And we see with the recent demotion of Michelle Beadle and the Jemele Hill leaving ESPN, how ESPN is trying to turn the page when it comes to social issues and politics. Even though you still got Max Kellerman there, who gets political here and there. He's a panderer. We know this. He'll never be Skip Bayless. But anyway, here you have 2 people who ESPN wants to get away from that type of rhetoric. You have Michelle Beadle, who will make offhanded comments, just very political, very feminist. Same thing with Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill even agreed with the article that said that black men are the new white men or something like that. She agreed with it. She promoted it. And that's the type of person that melanated people were looking to as to be some type of leader in media. Now, I want y'all to understand. I'm going to show you this article here on the screen. This article was written in 2017, I believe. 2017. This article was written. All right. And I want to say this. ESPN had been going in a downward slide for a while. August of 2017. Okay. Let me read a little bit of an excerpt. So last night it was reported that ESPN will be switching out a reporter during a University of Virginia game because of his name. Robert Lee will instead be covering a different game, one not near Charlottesville, Virginia. Robert Lee, in case you did not know, is an Asian American reporter. No one is going to take him for the Confederate or white nationalist yet. ESPN was reportedly concerned that this would be an issue, so they pulled him. Now, I want y'all to understand, this was in 2017, okay? This was in 2017. And that's where, and this is according to Red State, that was where ESPN was, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a different article. This is about Jemele Hill. Now, this is Jemele Hill speaking to the Hollywood Reporter about leaving ESPN, okay? She said, Jemele Hill waves goodbye to ESPN and hello to places where discomfort is okay. Let's see. In her first interview on her high-profile exit from the Disney-owned network, Hill explains why politics makes sports people nervous. The dressing down she got from management over the anti-Trump tweets and her new role as a Roman candle writer for The Atlantic. On September 14th, Jemele Hill is officially free of ESPN, and yes, ESPN is now free of Jemele Hill. Even though Hill, the often outspoken anchor and reporter, had more than 2 years left on her contract. Well, she was making over $1 million a year. I want you to understand that. Probably a little bit more than that, but I think it was about $1 million a year. And management dangled a couple of arguably unrealistic opportunities that would allow her to stay. Both parties basically acknowledged that her past together prohibited a future. The more than $5 million buyout Hill is due will be paid in a series of tranches this year and next. First off, a $5 million buyout for somebody who was okay. Jemele Hill was okay at ESPN. Okay. She was okay. And I think the only reason why it worked for her to get to the point to where she was an anchor on SportsCenter 6, once again pandering to social media and to the quote-unquote minority audience. They want to go cool, so they call it SC6, and then it flopped. Now you got to go back to SportsCenter, like it should be. You're paying her a $5 million buyout. Let's see. Nevertheless, her true DNA, Hill isn't pulling any punches. It just kind of became obvious to me that the relationship, as good, as fruitful, and as beneficial as it was, had really run its course, Hill 42 says now. It wasn't about leaving because things got difficult, Hill tells me. I've been through difficult swings in my career. It was about the fact that I couldn't commit to something that I know isn't right for me, that I know isn't going to bring out the best in me, and that I know is going to be kind of a waste of time. What she's saying is that they're not going to let her say and do whatever she wants. And because they're not going to let her say and do whatever she wants, she decides to leave. And they're going to pay her, I'm not sure they're going to pay her the whole $5 million buyout in a series of payments. But basically, she's going to be getting paid from ESPN, and she's going to be working this new job. So financially, she's still in a good place. But she ruined a good opportunity to be at the #1 sports network on TV right now still. Even though Fox Sports is making a big push, ESPN is still at the top. Just look at the amount of money they're paying college basketball, college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. They're getting the premium of the premium, you know? And she had an opportunity on a failing show, even though we all saw SC6 was going to be a failure. But I think they tried to save the show by going too woke. And when you go too woke, it doesn't work. Woke media is failing everywhere. Woke media is failing everywhere. This is why I will never be woke. I'm all about being red pill. I'm all about being logical, being centrist. I don't need to be woke. I'm going to be as balanced and as fair as I possibly can with a red pill perspective, like I've been doing for 4 years. These are facts. Let's see. Let's get through some of this. ESPN executives gave Hill and Smith that plum promotion after they displayed great chemistry and offered bold opinions on other ESPN shows. Executives believe the pair could be the answer to declining viewership. I want y'all to understand, viewership was declining before this show. And it had to do a lot with the agendas on the award shows. You had Caitlyn, a.k.a. Bruce Jenner, getting an award. You had Michael Sam getting an award, the guy who literally kissed another guy after he got drafted into the NFL. They just went completely woke on these award shows, their TV shows. They're constantly talking about Kaepernick and going full on politics, and people who pay good money for the subscriptions, who pay good money to watch, the premium programming, or who sit down every day after work to watch the show, they don't care what you think about politics. They don't care what you think about Trump. They don't. They don't want to see Caitlyn, aka Bruce Jenner, getting an award on the show. They don't want to see Michael Sam, who's done nothing since he got drafted in the 7th round a couple years ago. They don't want to see those people winning awards. They just don't. Let's see. But what had worked on other shows proved to be too great a departure of SportsCenter viewers who wanted more highlights and less opinion. Hill and Smith's SC6 pairing wound up being one of the most misguided and mismanaged misadventures in recent ESPN program. Yes, it was. That show was a mess because you bringing on two people, right, who had something good going on their own show. You're going to put them on the main ESPN show for viewers who do not relate to them. Say whatever you want. There are a lot of viewers of that show that don't relate to them. Don't relate to their humor. Don't relate to the topics that they're speaking on. What made SportsCenter great was that you had anchors who knew what they were doing. They were professional. They got to the highlights. They would make comments here and there, you know. But it wasn't about them. ESPN made that show about Hill and about Smith. Let's see. Let's get through some of this. Yeah, you already know about her calling Trump a supremacist, and she had a quote in here where she said that calling him a supremacist was like water being wet. It's hard to recall a day at ESPN apart from the death of colleagues or announcements of layoffs when so many employees expressed so much dismay at any fellow colleagues for thrusting the network into such a quagmire. Now, this isn't the only article. Let me get to Michelle Beadle. Speaking of wokeness and speaking of feminism, because here we have the blonde-haired, blue-eyed feminist herself, Michelle Beadle. All right. Now, I did a video on this on my Basic Social Politics channel, and I spoke about her being fired and what it meant. Okay. Because now she doesn't have any jobs, but they're still paying her $5 million a year. Michelle Beadle's dramatic fall at ESPN has continued. She is being dropped from NBA Countdown, sources confirmed to the Post. This is the second high-profile job Beadle has lost in the past 12 months, almost a year to the date. Beadle has been taken off ESPN's morning show, Get Up. She is still making $5 million per year, but there is no telling what she will do next. I think that she's somebody who, once again, is someone and is a type of person that they don't want on their network anymore. They don't want that type of mindset. They don't want that type of attitude at their network anymore. They want to go in a completely different direction, and I don't blame them. I really don't. I can't blame them for taking the business route on this. They're tired of the wokeness making them broke. ESPN, listen, ESPN has a lot of expenses. ESPN has a lot of expenses, and it costs money to just pay people to go away. You got to pay Michelle Beadle to do nothing, and I'm about to put the article up. You're paying Jemele Hill to do nothing. So it's almost as if ESPN financially is putting themselves in a deeper hole. But this is what happens when you embrace, this woke culture. This is what happens. This is what happens when, instead of you caring more about your network staying neutral and having individuals who are talented tell the stories for you and be able to galvanize an audience, you take the woke approach. Now let's talk about this from Inquisitor. ESPN is now paying Michelle Beadle $5 million per year to do nothing after she was dropped from NBA Countdown. All right. So Michelle Beadle's out of her second ESPN gig in this last year. As the NY Post reported, the $5 million per year television personality has been dropped from NBA Countdown amid shakeup that will see her replaced by the duo of Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor. As the report noted, the writing had been on the wall for Beadle, as a number of reports during the NBA playoffs claiming she was in danger of losing her job. I actually did a video like 2 months on that, so I was ahead of the curve too. I did a video on it, and I felt so strongly about that I did the video. I normally don't do videos on things I don't feel strongly about as far as it happening, Let's see. The move to drop Michelle Beadle from NBA Countdown was originally reported by Sports by Brooks back in June, noting that Paul Pierce and Chauncey Billups were also headed out. The report prompted a response from ESPN, which appeared to try to dispel the rumors. Our whole NBA team is doing a great job and remains focused on an incredible NBA Finals and tomorrow night's Game 6. The network said in a statement, "We have made no decisions about what we're doing next season. After the season, as we do from every sport, we will sit down and plan our entire NBA content offering across the platforms. Let's see. New York Post also report that in April that Michelle Beadle's job could be in danger. It was just 1 year ago that she left ESPN morning talk show Get Up. As the New York Post reported at the time, former ESPN president John Skipper had offered Beadle the chance to team up with Mike Greenberg on the flagship morning show, but she turned the job down until Skipper finally offered her $5 million a year. I don't know what type of relationship her and John Skipper had. John Skipper was very high on her. For whatever reason, John Skipper was very high on Michelle Beadle. And he wanted Michelle Beadle to be the face. Is it because she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman that you want to sleep, may possibly want to sleep with John Skipper? Because we know you have your issues. It's a good thing you're not running this network. I mean, John Skipper's doing all right for himself now. Whatever he's doing now, I think he's basically going to start his own network, I believe. But as far as running ESPN, this was not a good move. You're going to give this woman more money than some of the other women who've been on ESPN. Like, what's her name? I think her name is Lisa Cohn. I know I'm butchering her name. Linda Cohn, right? Linda Cohn. She's been there for a long time. She's been nothing but a trooper. You don't offer her $5 million. Why is that? She was anchoring, doing different shows, but you're going to give a woman $5 million who left the network to do her own thing on a different network that failed. So she came back to you, and you going to give her a pay raise of $5 million. That is why John Skipper is no longer at ESPN. The price was right, but the chemistry was reportedly all wrong. As Andrew Marchand wrote in the New York Post, at the time, Michelle Beadle's pair with Mike Greenberg seemed to be doomed from the start. See, she wants to be around black dudes. When she did Sports Nation, she had Marcellus Wiley and Max Kellerman. That's who she started off with. Then she does the NBA show, and she's around nothing but brothers. I just think that, I don't know if she has something with white dudes. I know when she first did Sports Nation with Colin started to show off with her, but then he ended up leaving that too. So I don't know if it's that her feminist thing kicking in where she doesn't want to be around white dudes. And I believe she also said something about telling white dudes to shut up when it came to a certain specific topic they were speaking on. I don't know, but she's very feminist. She's very feminist to you. People, I'm got a million things going on, so I can't think of the specific thing here. But be that as it may, I don't want to get too long, but I just wanted to make this article just to show y'all why ESPN is tired of. They're tired of the whole, get woke thing. They're tired of going woke, and they want to change up the culture, and I don't blame them, because right now I truly feel that ESPN, again, they have a lot of money that they have to distribute, and they got to pay people, they have to run their networks. They cannot afford to be woke anymore. There are other companies that are trying to clean up their act because they see that there's money in making sure that you build an audience. Instead of dividing your audience, you should be more appreciative of them, because at the end of the day, you're going to need them. And ESPN realizes that.